So from healthier soils to resilient supply chains, the future of food demands bold ideas and the people ready to grow them. Joining us are Jonathan Appel, CEO of Eden Energy, turning waste into clean energy through cutting-edge technology. Tomas Peña, general partner at the ULab Latam, giving agtech innovation across the region. And Alan Safier, CEO of Unispice, championing sustainable agriculture rooted in truth and transparency. Together, they'll explore how regeneration, innovation, and investment can converge to reshape Latin America's food system, from soil to scale. Let's give them a warm welcome.
Are we ready? It sounds like we're ready. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome. Really excited for today's discussion. I'm Jonathan Appel, founder and co-CEO of Eden. We are the regenerative waste-to-energy technology that is really forging a path to the future. We don't see waste as a pollution. We see waste as part of the solution because we can convert all carbon-based waste back into clean regenerative energy, biochar, fertilizers, and water with no harmful byproducts in an extremely efficient way. But that's enough about me. We're here to talk about these two amazing gentlemen here on stage, and I'm really excited to discuss with you what they're up to. So today we're going to start with Alan. Alan is the CEO of Unispice, which is one of the biggest vegetable producers in all of Latin America, providing nearly all the French beans. Hello. Providing nearly all the French beans to the United States. So Alan, good to see you. Welcome. So you have an amazing company. You have from everything from the farm all the way to distribution. So for you, what is Unispice, what is Born, and what does sustainability mean to you?
Well, good afternoon. It's great to be here, an amazing event, lots of energy. It's exciting to be here, it's a privilege. Everything started with a dream. I've been in this business for 35 years. And throughout this 35 years, we have seen the whole industry evolve, and probably not in the best way. That's why we created Born about 3 years ago. I started that movement with my son. They started working at the company. And the idea behind Born is protecting where everything is born, the farm. We found out that the weakest link in the whole chain is where everything begins. But if you don't start well, there's nothing you can do through the chain to make it better. So we created Born. And since 8-10 years ago, we invested heavily in technology. Technology is the backbone of Born. And we talk about transparency. And I'll come back to sustainability and why this is important. We started measuring everything. Technology, it's becoming a commodity. It's sexy, but it's becoming a commodity. Where the real treasure is the data, the quality of the data. So we're measuring everything. So from before the seed all the way to the shelf. Going back to sustainability, we clearly understand that a sustainable business, it's something that is here today, tomorrow, and generations to come. The whole world is facing a huge challenge right now. The average grower in the US right now is 59 years old. That's not pretty sustainable. So everybody thinks of sustainability without being disrespectful, being the tree hugger. That's nice. It's romantic. You have to do it. We converted dead land. We have the biggest conversion of dead land into flourishing oasis to produce the right product, but the business has to make sense. So the sustainability business through Born, and we call it cerebral because that's where we control all the data live. It goes to before you put the seed on the ground all the way to the distribution center or the shelves. So by controlling demand, being resilient with weather information from around the world, to taking regenerative agriculture with all the data, we're making a very sustainable, from the business point of view, business, and from taking care of the earth business.
Beautiful. Well, Tommy is the general partner and co-founder of Yield Lab, a financial firm helping farmers bridge the gap. So Tommy, as I've been made aware of, you raised $50 million during the middle of the winter for farming. That's no easy task. So Tommy, how did you accomplish that? What was your pitch, and what is exactly that Yield Lab is doing to support farmers?
Well, thank you so much, Jonathan. I want to thank you because they're taping Jamma and Marianne for inviting us. This is an amazing event. Thank you, everybody, for being here. So, yes, we did this with a team, right? They're here, part of it is here. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when I started S4, which was the first agtech startup that in Latin America that got to a Series A, I realized that there was something missing very important, which was people understanding that disruption in agriculture, which is very conservative, is a good thing. And also talking to farmers and make them understand that if they didn't get involved in the innovation with the digital world that was coming to them, with the satellites, people will know what happened in their farm much better than what they do, and they will tell them what to do in the farm without understanding how they did it, right? Because the algorithms will tell them you should do soybean, or you should do corn, or you should do this and that. And so we started in Argentina with a group of farmers in 2017, which invested very small amount of money. And from there, we went to Brazil, and then we went to Chile and Mexico, and we opened offices there, and we built an ecosystem. Last week, or this week, I don't know, it's a Saturday today, so I guess on Thursday, we were in Costa Rica working with them, with farmers and ecosystem play with Teresita and Santiago, trying to build an ecosystem in Costa Rica. So when you look at the map of Latin America, you have $6.6 trillion GDP, 20% of that is ag, 80% of that GDP is in 5 countries. So you say, why are we coming to Guatemala and Costa Rica? Because of talent. What we're trying to figure out is solutions to problems that could be integrated in other countries also. So for example, in the case of sugarcane, you have 400,000 hectares in the whole Central America. You have 9 million in Brazil. But why do you come to figure out? Because maybe you have a team of talent like we have in Apartado, Colombia, an expert in banana that's doing amazing solutions that could be exported in the case of palm tree plantations to Malaysia. So digitalization and the connection and creating a huge network, was the pitch. And it took us 8 years to get to this point, and tomorrow we're launching another fund to do more ecosystem building, more seed stage, and more connection to the farmer to help them understand that this is a big opportunity for them, because decentralized innovation with anybody today with an AI engine can create code, and so the need for a technology guy is much, it's much cheaper. You can get to the exit much cheaper today and faster, and we think that Latin America has the talent to do that.
That sounds pretty spectacular. So data, as we all know, is the key to so many different avenues that we're looking at in this world. So Alan, you've shared some pretty interesting facts with me, especially one about how to reduce waste. So how can data in your sector, as produced by Tommy's systems, how can that help you reduce waste and reduce the cost to not just the farmers, but to the suppliers, to the sellers, to all these different verticals? How can this data be integrated into what you're doing to reduce the waste that is piling up everywhere, that thankfully we're forging a solution towards? But how can we be less wasteful?
Yeah, if we start from the shelf back to the farm, we were able to connect to a couple customers, and the first thing you have to do is you have to predict demand. We don't put anything on the ground that it's not going to be pre-sold. Everything's pre-sold. To the seed, we know exactly how many pounds per week 8 to 9 months ahead. And that's the first starting point. So we need that data. We go into their systems, we evaluate the volume and predict everything that they will be needing it at the distribution center. That goes back to the farm. We know how many seeds we need to plant, how we're going to ship it, the amount of packaging, everything that needs to be done. The second thing, and this is revolutionary, is that we design a system together with a couple of retailers in the US where we're the first company in the world that we're doing the first in, first out based on the day and time of harvest. So every morning at 6 a.m. in the morning, their system will send their inventory, what they have at the DCs, and 10 minutes later, the farms will send back the information. It will tell them exactly by code how they should put it on the shelf. We reduce their waste from 38% to 6% just by doing that.
38 to 6%. That is significant.
And that is also correlated to the volume that we were going to ship to them. So we already knew that they were going to reduce the waste. Then you go back to the logistics. There was a huge problem at the logistics within the US and Canada where they were just to send the product that they needed to have, we created a formula where we will only use trucks at 70% capacity or plus, because they were sending trucks with 30 pallets capacity with 2 pallets. So that's already a huge waste, from money to CO2 and what else. And then at the farm level, it's about, by using the data, regenerative data technology, we were able to reduce the produce going from the farm to the packaging by instead of using 60%, now we're using 92%. So that means that you need to produce less product for the yield that you're going to have. So that's just a few of the examples, and you can go, there's plenty of them.
Wow, 38 to 6%, a 32% swing in waste. Now just imagine if every single farm in this planet and every single grocery store was able to reduce their waste from 38 to 6. How much of a yield in change that would make for all of our farmers. Now, Tommy, data is becoming key in everything you're doing at Yield Lab. So how can the data that is being produced from farms from Allen, how does that become synthesized through Yield Lab, and what do you guys do with that data to help farmers like Allen?
Yes, so we invested in 30 companies in 7 countries already. So a few cases is like Quilimo. Quilimo is a company that was selling to farmers a recipe for water management in Pampa Húmeda in Argentina, which is the humid pampas, where you have excess of water. So giving recipes to manage water was not as relevant, and they only got paid $6 per hectare. Then they moved to Andean region, and they started charging 60 to 150 because in the Andean region, water was a big problem. And then they moved forward, and today they're giving the farmer money for saving water and using that for companies that use excess of water, kind of like a water offset. So that shows that there's a huge opportunity of changing the if, then, go to of the data, right? And that's why we think that we need to change the conversation. And to change the conversation means that we need to start thinking of imaginative solutions. One of them is fintech. Fintech for ag is a very big one. Another company that we invested is called Solena. Solena is a Mexican company that is giving the farmer a good information on their soil, and they take that information to the lender, saying, "Hey, I'm doing regen ag." But all those conversations take a lot of time. As we were talking before, that company that manages all the logistics, and he says 50% of the trucks are 20 years of older. But when just moving them to a newer unit reduces carbon footprint by 20-30%, but there's no green bank that's going to finance it because they didn't go to gas or to electric. So what we're saying is, guys, wake up, smell the coffee. It's a huge opportunity of getting involved, changing the conversation. Agriculture is a major thing in Latin America. There's different models, one like Alan, which is amazing and truly congratulate you on that. But there's also other ways, not just focusing on sustainability, but focusing on doing sustainable product, having a social impact, right? And social impact is another company that we have called Auravant. That is a company that has a system that the farmer can turn their Excel sheets into an API. This is just starting, but this is the way that we think that farmers could get involved and say, hey, I have this way of doing things. I'm very close to the problem. Here's a solution, right?
So essentially being able to capitalize on their data by getting financing by showing what they're doing.
Yeah, teaching them about actionable insights, right? Teaching them how to turn that data into money, either because they take that data to the bank or they take that data into an API and they sell that data to somebody in Malaysia.
And those are solutions that all farmers could utilize.
Yes, and one more thing is super important that we realize that in Latin America, 93% of the people in Latin America use WhatsApp. That means that they have connections, that they have a smartphone, and that if the product is right, they will use it. So all the things that we say about farmers, and you have more than 20 million farmers in Latin America, that creates an opportunity to say, hey guys, use your phone, use your computer, use your cellular connection, and bring value to the table and capture some value back.
No, that sounds like a really exciting solution that a lot of farmers would be able to capitalize on. So Alan, you and I have had some conversations, and I've spent time, guys, in the regenerative agriculture space. I founded a company that designs food forests at home scale, right? Helping people to grow their own food directly at home. And one of the things that is a well-known lie in the industry is that farming is organic in some cases. Some people use the term regenerative. So Alan, to you, what does it truly mean to be a regenerative farm, to be an organic farm, and how do you use data to make sure that the food you're growing is the best product for the people?
Well, first, transparency has to be, the customer has to decide what they want to buy, but they cannot be lied to. So that's why through transparency, they know if it's organic, but it has to be a true organic. Right now, there's a lot of lies in the world. And the thing is that the quality of the information is not there. We already offer blockchain to a lot of the retailers just to make sure that the data that we're providing them, it's the right data. Regenerative is very easy. You have to make sure that the land today, it's better, tomorrow it's going to be better than today. And the only way to prove it is through the real data. So we have third-party companies that come in and they measure the livelihood of the soil, for example. When we got the land that we created, that we transformed it, the organic material was 0.007. That's dead land. So instead of taking 30 years to regenerate that land through the system, through data, we're able, with crop rotation, integration of organic material, and bringing life back to the farm, we did it in 4.5 years. We went to 4.5 on the organic matter. And that's
For those
already
of you
proven.
who don't know what that means, that is a turnaround time that is not seen anywhere. That is truly impressive.
And the only way to do it is through data. We have a lot of data points, real data points, right? You know, everybody talks about artificial intelligence, but really what it does is it brings all the data points there. You're able to correlate all that information and constantly work with that information, and it brings the power of computing right now and getting all that data is just amazing. But the quality of the data has to be there. So, you know, trash in, out.
Trash out, right? Thankfully, we're working on a solution to trash in something better out. But Alan, you brought up a term, blockchain. I think probably everybody here is familiar with that one at this point. So Tommy, I want to come back to you. Yield Lab is a financial institution. Blockchain is becoming more and more integrated into everything we're doing. It helps validate processes, it helps keep people honest, but it also provides an avenue for people to gain significant wealth, significant traction, and also yield benefits that they wouldn't normally realize. So how does Yield Lab work with blockchain, and what does that mean to what you guys are doing?
Yes, I mean, when I worked at a bank before. In 1999, we have something called digital signature, which was hashing something. So blockchain has been around for many, many years. I agree with you that it's becoming more useful and more, the world is more digitalized today, so it makes more sense to use it. But I also love geospatial information. Today, geospatial information for farming is critical. The level of information that you're going to have very soon is amazing. And again, coming from banking and our team being mostly commercial and financial guys, that we don't have agriculture guys in the team. What we see is that we don't fall in love with the technology. We fall in love with the solutions that are mostly with teams that bring solutions to problems that are really, really important. And we work with our cap table, which includes CPGs and companies that, for example, CPGs that have 155,000 people. They're one of the biggest food producers in the world, and they have 3 people in their ag team because CPGs were disengaged to this conversation, right? So we don't fall in love with the technology. We fall in love with problem solving of that technology. This March, there was a group like this of farmers, and we asked them all to raise their hand how many have tried ChatGPT. How many have tried ChatGPT? Imagine you were farmers. You liars. Most of you do ChatGPT.
He was asking how many of you have tried ChatGPT. I don't see any many hands up, and we know all you all have.
Yeah, round of applause, something. I mean, guys, cheer up. With 9 minutes to go. But all of them raise their hand. Everybody is using ChatGPT. So, of course, blockchain is very important, but also geospatial. But I think that the most important technology that we need to use is integration, right? Because nobody's going to hold the whole ecosystem of any crop in the world because of food security, right? And all the IPOs of startups that were agtech in the past few years are 95% down. So with my partners, we like to say agtech is dead after the sign, right? But after our LP sign, no. Jokes aside, we believe that technical solutions, even if they have blockchain, if you can take that to value creation, that is to a bank or to a certified value chain or carbon or whatever, it's no use.
For sure. And as Alan so eloquently put it, trash in, trash out. If you don't have the good data, you really have nothing. Data at the end of the day is what our world is coming down to. There are companies around the world that all they do is dealing with data. Most people don't realize this, but that's what Facebook is, right? Just a data mining company.
Yeah, Facebook is context, not data.
Hey, that's a good clarification. Thank you, Tommy. But Alan, I want to come back to you. We've got a few more minutes here. What you have done with Unispice is truly special. It's getting me excited that there are opportunities for farmers once again, because in the space that I was in prior, we all know that farmers, it's a dying breed. But what you've created, you've shown that farmers can once again yield a profit. So what is one takeaway you would like this audience to know about what you're doing at Born and how you guys are forging a path for farmers to once again be able to produce crops that aren't just profitable, but healthy, regenerative, and also help heal our lands?
Yeah, well, to start with, we have to understand what born means, taking care of their source, where everything's born. And yes, technology is the backbone. And I just think that right now, agri-tech is forgetting about the agri part and just focusing on the tech. There's still got to be someone to perform. We're losing growers around the world. And we got to show the final consumer where the product comes from. And that's only going to be through transparency. New generations right now, they're very concerned where their product, where their food comes from. But they also have to be aware that there's a responsibility for taking care of the earth, but also taking care of the people that actually work the earth. And through data right now, the farmers of today can guarantee that there's going to be a farm and there's going to be food for tomorrow. Right now, I see a lot of the agri-tech companies forgetting about the agri. And tech by itself, you've seen a lot of stories on technology. Vertical farming was a big mess in the U.S. How many billions were lost? And just because they concentrated on the tech, nobody was able to do a balance of energy table. How much energy do you need to produce a sweet potato? And you were, actually using energy to do that. But they only focus on the energy and not the agri. The sun is free. Why not use it? That's part of being regenerative and sustainable. But just do it right. Right now with the amount of technology there's out there and the amount of data you can do, you can make a really sustainable food chain for today and generations to come.
Absolutely. I could not have put that better. Wonderful. So, Tommy, we're coming back to you for a very similar question. What you guys are doing at Yield Lab is going to help farmers take their data, understand, and be able to produce significantly more crops with less energy inputs and make sure that we're all able to be sustainable and, more importantly, regenerative in the future. So what would you like our audience today to take away from what Yield Lab is doing, and what would you like them to know about your mission?
Thank you. The big missing here is the ask, right? Farmers knowing what to ask for, corporations knowing what to ask for, and how to create that conversation. When you go to farmers and you say, okay, what are your pain points? And you explain to them, if a startup doesn't understand your pain point, if it's a row crop, it's going to take him a year of financing a team to figure out what you want. So why don't you get involved? Why don't you invest in the company? Why don't you work with the company? Or even your son can join the company and start new conversation and understand that this is a problem for you that's going to happen, right? If you look at Netflix, everybody has seen Netflix, the Avocado War, that chapter. I mean, people in Chile weren't able to sell to Germany because somebody said that this guy cannot prove that they didn't drink the water of the whole town. Or in Mexico, something similar. So the market is already asking you to be traceable, to understand if you're doing the best practice. And so when you talk about billions of dollars, I agree with you. For example, in cultivated meat, it shows that cultivated meat didn't work, but does that mean that we need to still kill all the cows and not eat anymore? No, we should improve the way that food is being produced. Last year, we did in Amsterdam a call for startups in dairy with this company, a Chinese company, and a New Zealand company. 100 companies showed up, 30 from the US, 30 from Europe, 30 from Latin America, 20 from Asia Pacific, and 10 from Africa, and a Chilean one. I didn't even know they had cows in Chile. And well, we don't like Chileans anyways. But sorry, it's a soccer thing. Don't worry. Because we were, you know that we won the world championship. Yeah. Okay, so basically what we need to, the takeaway is Latin America is a powerhouse of talent. And instead of making, sorry about this, but making Miami the capital of Latin America, it should be every single agricultural town, because now you can move there and use technology to solve problems that are really important with the people that are really committed to that, which is the people who are close to the problem.
The future is distributed, the future is decentralized. Being able to create our products in the areas where we live, not have to ship them thousands of kilometers just to put a piece of food on our plate. Making sure that we can grow our food right at home. Making sure that our local communities can benefit from that food. It's what data brings to us. It's what allows us to be able to yield fruit from our own lands while healing it at the same time. We've created a lot of waste in this world, but up here we have two gentlemen who are working diligently to make sure that that waste is no longer a problem. And you have Eden, who's here to take care of the rest. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan.
Pleasure, man.
Gracias, Alan.